In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. Merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness in the cosmos. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness, which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness, which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Unequal refuge, ornament of the world. Your fame pervades the 3,000 worlds. You are the victor, Vajradhara, without a doubt. I bow at the feet of the Father, Jigten Sumgen. Continually, I think of no one but you. Compassionate one, grant your blessings. Dispel the darkness that surrounds my heart. Please bless me so that I may realize the unelaborate nature of mind. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. As a Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. To the lamas who possess the 3 kayas, I offer the outer, inner, and secret offerings with my body, wealth, and all that is visible. Please grant me the supreme realization and enlightenment. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confessions, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying for the sake of enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate. Om Guru Deva Da Kini Ratna Mandala. Wow. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the 2 vehicles and their combination according to the disposition and likewise the mental capacities of sentient beings.
Thank you. First, please relax yourself physically, mentally, and then just please feel we are so fortunate to get this precious opportunity, touch with the wisdom of the Buddha. The wisdom of the Buddha means the special insight, compassion, that is the principal method with how to relax mentally in a peace. So now we just reflect the way now everybody desire for peace and happiness, and everybody desire to free from suffering. And this is the reality nature. So we on the base on this, we cultivate our altruistic thought to free ourselves, all sentient beings, from the confusion and heal our mind and minds of all sentient beings. So I will today touch the subject of the Buddha's teaching. Just appreciate and rejoice. With this, please first take a deep breath. Inhale fully and exhale all our tension, physically, mentally. And inhale all the Buddha's wisdom, compassion into us. And we meditate, it heals our body and mind. And exhale all our confusion. And once more, please inhale fully all the wisdom and compassion of Buddha. And exhale all our confusion and the suffering. And then mind just relax as like the nature of the space. Unconfined state of the mind. Total freedom. Not occupied by these, our confusion, the cause of suffering. Now, these next few months, we are touching on the, we are studying briefly about the abbreviated, say, the jewel ornament of liberation, a book that is compiled by Dharma Lord Gampopa, an enlightened master historically. And this book that Gampopa wrote served such a great and the benefiting sentient beings through many centuries. Those who are beginner and highly realized, great scholar, they all appreciate this special book. Everyone use as a guideline. They follow the path step by step so that everyone can free from the vicious cycle of samsara. Now, as you see, this book has first, there's a 6 topic. The primary cause, the working basis, the spiritual masters, and the method of the instruction of the spiritual master, the result, the Buddhahood, and activities of the Buddha. So far, we have touched on the primary cause as the nature of the innate goodness, a seed, a potential seed for enlightenment, to see the effulgence nature of the mind. As you see in the samsara, very clear, everywhere, all over the world, people are suffering so much. See, and animals as well. Those who are rich, those who are poor, those who have a very high status, and those who have no any status, young or old, everyone is going through vicious cycle in their life because due to lack of the wisdom to see the effulgence nature of the mind. Our mind is occupied by this ignorance, bewilderment. We're in the jungle of the confusion. So here in this book first started, how much potential, the seed that we have to achieve the total peace and happiness. That's why the Dhammakaya is pervaded to all sentient beings. So first, we appreciate this. Now, to reveal that the total nature of the effulgence, the enlightenment, we need a working basis, the precious human life. Now, as the leisure, the endowments, physically, why we need them. And then mentally, the faith, trusting faith, longing, and clear. See? So with this physically, mentally well-equipped is the working basis, has all the ability to purify all these our obscurations. But that much is not enough. Now we need a spiritual master who has all these excellent qualities, the qualities for the enlightenment, to show to others, has the ability, has the skill, has the altruistic mind, the bodhicitta. So we went through all this. Now from today we'll touch this instruction, the method, how we can study, practice these precious teachings. So as not as a Buddhist, you see, we should make a sense ourselves why I need to study, practice the Dharma. Not just as a spiritual, not just as a religion, but as a cause, making as a condition how I can free from all the vicious cycle of this confusion, the suffering. Because you see, everybody in the world, politically, economically, technologically, all these people are keeping so busy their life. See, their life is kept so busy because they want to achieve some peace, happiness. They want to free from the suffering. They want to secure their life for better. So you see, now Dharma teaching that Buddha taught is not just some physically to secure, but mentally how to walk. This is very, you should say, this is a very sophisticated technology the Buddha has developed, that which sentient beings are well equipped, but there's no clear instruction way how they shows in the modern. Even this modern 21st centuries, as I mentioned last time, the science and technologies are highly appreciated, but all designed the outer phenomena, not the inner phenomena. So here we are touching the inner phenomena. So do this now. So I'll read this introduction to part 4. This, which is the method, the instructions of the spiritual master. So this concept, short but very condensed, and it made such a very important point. So it is very important we just read this, and then I try to explain whatever I can, and you all should, in your mind, just see that we should have such a convinced wisdom, reason why we need this, why we need to follow. As mentioned, not as a Buddhist, not as a religious training, but as a universal requirement, how to free from suffering, how to achieve total peace and happiness. This is very important for the modern, who say they are calling modern education. All these ancient wisdoms should be supported by the modern education. So these Dharma teachings are totally agreeable with the modern education. It's not all system. As you see, now we can talk so much, but maybe I want to go through the book, Since we have the primary cause, Buddha nature, the potential seed that we have. So we have this Buddha nature, or the seed of enlightenment, or you say the seed for the peace and happiness to achieve. We have come from a continuous stream since beginningless samsara, since beginningless this universe war. So that first there's a two important point. We already have the total nature of the enlightenment, the seed. And then we come from beginningless, continuously up until now. So there's two. So during this time, saying at some time, at some point, we must have gained a precious human life that we talk about. Occasionally, within these 6 realms, we must have achieved the precious human life, and also met with a spiritual master. So during those times, we must have met spiritual master. Not so often, but we must have met, because we are coming from beginner's time up until now. Just imagine, Just like in this life, there are so many people, must have encountered some spiritual masters. They must have encountered opportunity to study, to meditate. Just look at this. So what falls, what went wrong, have prevented us from attaining Buddhahood or enlightenment in the past. So what kind of obstacle we face, what kind of impediment we encounter to free from the vicious cycle of the samsara. Why we're still in the samsara? This is a very important question, you see. Reflect to ourselves. This is the way how to have the conviction. This will help us to follow the path without flinching, without going back. You see, go only forward. See, otherwise, sometimes, as we know, oh yes, Buddha's teaching is beautiful, wonderful, but I'm not born with that, It's okay, I'm just happy, My life is all right. So there are so many like that. But we have to look complete picture of this, our life. So now here there's the answer for that, where we have not free from samsara. So the answer is here. We have been overpowered by the 4 obstacles. We have been now kind of obscured our mind that 4 different impediments, 4 different obstacles we encounter. So see, Gampopa asked this question for us, because we have so many questions, but sometimes we don't know what kind of question we should ask. Sometimes we're asking wrong question, we don't know what we're asking, So Gampopa here made such an important question. So we to wake up. Yeah, that's right. What happened? What went wrong? I can see there's a Buddha nature with me. Now I have a precious human life. Still, I cannot practice so well. Why? See, now that, then what are those 4 obstacles or impediments to the attainment of Buddhahood? So can you tell us what are those 4 obstacles that we encounter, we face? See, now first is being attached to this life's activities. This one. We are totally involved in this life's activities. Not only business, not only politics, even sometimes Dharma practice. We use Dharma practice just for this life's benefit. That is one. No. Then next, second, being attached to the pleasure of samsara. Means in the God realm, in the human realm, we try to make this life as perfect as possible. Then we follow, if we believe next life. So, next life, if I'm born as a human being in a good place, in the human beings, there are some human beings as also as in the like a God realm. Such a joyous life, good life. So this is enough for me. I'm just good about it. I feel good about this. I don't need Dharma practice. I don't need to meditate. I'm just well off. So we attach to the pleasure of this samsara. Then this second. And the third one, being attached to peace, means sometimes we may feel samsara is a state of suffering. Occasionally good, but always there's some problems, difficulties. Cannot totally free from that kind of suffering in the samsara. So I must free from samsara, but for myself. I cannot do this for others. I need myself to free from this vicious cycle of the suffering. So attached to my own peace, liberation. So third. Now fourth, and not understanding the method by which enlightenment is achieved. There's sometimes, yes, I want to achieve enlightenment, complete enlightenment, but I don't know how. Can you tell me? No? So there's these 4 different impediments or obstacles we encounter. Now this not necessarily all the 4. Any one of those 1, 2, or 3, Some maybe not so much attached to these life's activities, not so much attached to the pleasure of samsara. Also say, I want to help others. Not so much attached to one's own peace, but don't know how to attain Buddhahood. So like that. So first, we should get this 4 very important point. This is just to open our heart and then just look at it makes sense or not. It's very important. Don't take as a personal, I like or don't like, but just whether it makes sense or not. Look at this. And then next is said, how can these 4 obstacles be dispelled? So how we can now free from these obstacles? Now next question is, they are dispelled, they are get rid of by the practicing the instruction heard from the spiritual master. So that's why you see how spiritual master is so important. And the spiritual master, how important to have these all qualities, you see. It's not the title. Sometimes now there was so much involved with the title. What title you have, what title they have, what title he has, what title she has, and not looking at the qualities. It's very important to have the qualities, the ability to help others. Now they say, how many instructions of the spiritual master are there? The summary, now here summary is here. Meditation on impermanence is what? First, to release attachment to this life. First, impermanence, which we can discuss that. Second, meditation on the forms of samsara and cause and result. The meditation on the forms of samsara means the suffering of samsara, the non-satisfactory nature of the samsara. No matter how much we enjoy in the samsara, never satisfied. So the cause of that and the result. Third, meditation on loving kindness and compassion. As other days I mentioned, everyone has some kind of love and compassion. Emotionally, out of attachment, whatever. But here saying love and compassion to all the sentient beings. Now, fourth, and the various elements of the cultivation of bodhicitta, means through different methods, we cultivate bodhicitta. So bodhicitta practice is how to attain Buddhahood. So these four comprise the instruction of the spiritual master. To restate, to repeat this, to make more clear about this, about the four obstacles and how to dispel these four obstacles, or how to get out of these four obstacles, to make more clear about this. So there are the instruction on the meditation practice. See, here mention meditation practice. It's not enough just say, I understand impermanence. It's not enough just say, I know something is state of suffering. But here's the meditation practice, bring in our heart. And then we just see that nature, convince ourselves and follow the path. That's what means meditation practice. Regarding impermanence, first, then instructions on the meditation practice regarding reflection on the forms of samsara and on cause and its result. Instruction on the meditation practice regarding the loving kindness, compassion, and instructions on how to cultivate bodhicitta. There are the direct method to counteract, to dispel the obstacles. When we totally convinced about the impermanence of all those phenomena, when we see that in the heart, just say, yes, I can see it. then it helps to release attachment to this life. When we see the suffering of samsara, one after another, then it helps to release the attachment and the pleasure of the samsara. When you see all sentient beings as our mother, our sister, our brother, who are suffering, then it helps to release only for individual self-liberation. Then when you know the bodhicitta practice, then you open the door towards enlightenment, for complete enlightenment, for complete Buddhahood. You see? So these first, look at these 4 obstacles, carefully investigate. This is very serious, You see, they say every country has their constitution. So this is the constitution of the Buddha's teaching to achieve enlightenment. The complete constitution. See, no more, no less. It's complete. When we have this constitution understanding in our heart, then you say, yes. Then the individual practitioners feel so happy. Now I know. I was practicing Dharma for many years, but didn't know what really for or how. No. I like to meditate, really I want, I feel the samsara suffering is so much, but didn't know. But now I know what this means. And your kind of the joy you receive is such that cannot be replaced by any. And you're working for the enlightenment. All the hardships is nothing. That's why Milarepa, you see the lifestyle of Milarepa, always so beautiful. He went through that, but he went through so joyfully, always. From outside looks so kind of, poor, so weak. Some hunters, when they went on the mountain and saw Milarepa, has nothing to eat, nothing to wear clothes in a cave, and they said, what a poor you didn't know how to do the life, So then Milarepa said, I know what I'm doing, You don't know, he said, This is because the wisdom of Marpa that I received the teachings. And he know that, you see, definitely will free from the vicious cycle of samsara. And he was so excited, you see, to go through this, purifying all this, our inveterate habit, deeply rooted, the habits in the samsara. It needs such courage, you see. Dharma practice is not for weak people. Somebody asks, why you need a male and female, to be ordained like this. We need such courage, courageous mind, courageous body, strength, physically, mentally, and go forward. This is for wise people. Such a wise people need this. The weak people cannot do this, cannot handle. No. So we should have such a great joy. So that's why this is so precious. So I want to go through this. Then others we can adjust. But these are so important first to capture the root, the rudimentary of the practice Dharma. Thus, contemplating the subject of impermanence remedies attachment to this life, to this life's activities. Now, as you see, as I mentioned, not only those are not Buddhist, even Buddhist, the Buddhist business people, Buddhist politicians, you can see that in the different countries now, in the Buddhist country, they are so corrupted for this life because they are so attached to this life's achievement. See? So they have not received Buddha's message. They misunderstood Buddha's message. So we all have to have such a clear picture. It doesn't mean we don't care this life. Of course, we have to eat. We have to have a place to live, wear clothes. We need to sustain this life. But how much you need, you see? We have one stomach, one mouth, You see how much you need, you see? You see? If you eat too much, there's a problem, suffering. So, but there are some people totally focus this life. There's announced, so can you just say these prayers so that I have a good business? Can you do this, so that my business will be very successful? Can you say this some prayers so that I'm promoted to some higher status, get a good title like this, No, all we focus is for this lives. We never think, even next life, forget it for enlightenment, Enlightenment is somewhere, Even we forget next life, totally focus on this life. You see, makes sense? Meditate on this, reflect on this. So this impermanence helps us to remove our obstacles, focusing only on this life. So that's one. Then reflecting on the falls of samsara. So falls of samsara means the suffering of samsara. Samsara is in the human realm. We are not always bad, Sometimes beautiful day, our health is good, and we have very good food to enjoy. Then say, life is beautiful. Life is perfect, but not always that way, Sometimes go in the wrong direction and we suffer, And then, so what should I do, So can you say some prayers? The life is not going well, like these things. So we have to reflect on this, both sides, good and bad, but always is changing. So reflect on that. Then he said, and samsara, and on the karma cause and its result, its remedies, attachment to the pleasure of samsara. So don't attach too much to the samsara. Whether you are born in the cart realm, whether you are born in the human realm, still there's a suffering. Of course, if you're born in the hell realm, hungry ghosts, animals, the suffering is so profound, so deep. Still in the human realm, you can see the very rich people see their suffering. The very hard, the leader of the powerful countries, how much suffering they have, You see very clear, you see. Sometimes you feel, why you want to be leader of the country, But still, people are attached to that. They want, without knowing. So if you see these teachings, then say, oh, there's some alternative. Then, third, meditating on loving kindness, compassion, remedies, purifies, or is the antidote, attachments to the pleasure of individual peace, liberation. This peace is not samsaric peace. This peace is the liberation, like a partial nirvana, that one. And the fourth, cultivating the supreme bodhicitta, supreme bodhicitta, Changchu Sem Cho, you say, Changchu Sem bodhicitta, Cho, supreme. Everybody has the mind, but the mind which desires to attain Buddhahood, the mind which cultivates the bodhicitta, is the supreme mind. The mind which desires to help all sentient beings is such a sublime mind, such a precious mind. So that is the antidote for not understanding the method by which to achieve enlightenment. So please reflect on these very carefully. It's good to repeat and then maybe memorize. Not so much here, Memorize them. Meditate on this. Why I'm practicing Dharma. This is what's called the wisdom of the Buddha. How to uproot the total suffering. You see, now, here I know many of you, I met 80s, 90s, 20s. How many great empowerments you have received. Such a highest yoga deities empowerment you have received. Many times, not only one. How much benefit you get or got from this. It's precious. It's fortunate to receive these such a powerful deities empowerment. But not so much affected your mind to free from our mental afflictions. So all our Dharma practice is deep down. If we look at carefully, we need to purify the mind. So that's what Buddha said, You see, the enemy of the sentient beings is our mental afflictions. Nyomong in Tibetan, Nyonmongba. The people who say, this is my enemy, is temporary. One day, he or she is your enemy. Next day, they can become such a wonderful friend. You know? Now you say, you can talk about that. Once we were fighting, so quarreling, fighting so much, but now we are best friends, we say. But now relate to the afflictions, mental afflictions, negative thoughts. We cannot become friends at all. Always they take away our peace and happiness. They will always destroy our peace and happiness. Like look at the desire, attachment. Look at this, our anger, aversion, jealousy. As soon as they arise in our heart, it takes away all our peace and happiness. And then without knowing, they are the one which takes our peace and happiness. We blame outside, somebody else. You know, I feel miserable because he or she did this. They did that. No. So you see, it's very delicate nature. So first reflect on these. This I'm saying some more because first these are the four very, very important points. These four obstacles and the remedy. They are the real medicine. These remedies are the real medicine, can heal our mind. Our mind is so wounded, you know, so much wounded. Therefore, the wisdom, the love, the compassion, and the bodhicitta, they are the real ambrosia. It's called undefiled ambrosia. Undefiled, nectar. They heal our body. They will heal our mind, make our mind fresh. And they will make our life a very productive, useful. So I usually explain this way. So this is where we are starting practices. Nothing to do with the Buddhism. It is the reality nature of the samsara. Everywhere in the world you see the suffering because of these mental afflictions. Of course, there's some outside forces. When there's no rain, no flood, this gives us suffering. But once in a while, but these mental afflictions, they give us suffering 24 hours, every day in our life. And this is just life after life, life after life. Doesn't matter where you go, where you're reborn. So Buddha's teaching is this, is true for the peace. Peace within. It takes time. As mentioned, because of our pernicious, what's called the pernicious habituated. Perniciously, we are so habituated within this, and we need repeat again and again. We need these powerful teachings to purify and replace by the wisdom of our Buddha nature. Our Buddha nature is the total peace. is the embodiment of all the wisdom that we need to reveal. To reveal that, first we need to study, practice the Buddha's teaching. That's what we need to meditate ourselves. No? And practice. See. Then next, I will just read them. These are the factors used to cultivate the mind and to develop bodhicitta. This is all method, Impermanence is also method. Reflecting on the suffering of samsara is also method. And reflecting on the karma and the result is also method. Reflecting on in the loving kindness, compassion, is all a method to develop bodhicitta. At the end of the day, our focus is bodhicitta. See, but we need all these factors. That's what it's called, various factors. From the time one starts taking refuge until one meditate on the meaning of the true selflessness. Your book has two selflessnesses. So it's a two selflessnesses. It's made a mistake, true selfless. It's not true selflessness. Two selflessnesses, okay? I noticed some books have changed that. No, mine is still here, the true selflessness, or from the 5 parts until the 10 bhumis, all Dharma teachings are included in the cultivation of bodhicitta. Some practices form the foundation from which to cultivate the enlightened mind. And some are the object of the cultivation of the mind. Some are method to cultivate the mind. Some are the training in the cultivation of the mind. The mind means bodhicitta. Some are the beneficial effects of the cultivation of the mind. And some are the result of the cultivation of the mind. So, all the minor teachings are included in cultivation of the mind, the bodhicitta. Therefore, all these instructions are imparted, given by the spiritual master, depending on the spiritual masters. So we are dependent on the spiritual master. The planting noble stock, Sutta says, spiritual master is the source of all the virtuous teaching. The attainment of omniscience, Buddhahood, depends on the instructions of the spiritual master. So spiritual master who gave us these teachings, so precious, you see, so kind, so generous. So that's why, as you see, generally you see in the school, in the college, you see, as I mentioned the other day, when there's a good teacher who gives you all this wisdom, the student becomes such a wonderful. But student has also responsibility to relate to the teacher in the university. Those students who are very attentive, they follow, they follow the advice, the teachings, the instructions given by the teacher. Respectfully, attentively, the student become much better. You see, same thing. That's why I say, you see, in the Dharma, there's a guru, a guru who has good qualities, give you all the good instructions, all this. Then interdependent. When the teacher attend, respectfully, with awareness, with mindfulness, how much you can get benefit, so much. If you're always arguing, all this, you can get nothing because you're arguing, Of course, one should have the special insight to investigate right or wrong. That Buddha given us all this perfect opportunity. Buddha explained everything so perfectly. As we went through, spiritual master, how much they should have the qualities, ability. It's not the title. Then how much responsibility the student has. So this introduction, I think, is very important. And you repeat this, aware this again and again. So where I'm practicing Dharma, why I should do this. So this now next is the impermanence, is antidote or a remedy attachment to this life. So first I'll read few lines and then more details you can read. You know all this. Of these, the chapter 4, impermanence. Of these, the first instruction is meditation on impermanence as the antidote, remedy to attachment to this life. Okay. So as mentioned, meditation, you meditate. So here now say all composite phenomena. This is one thing. Composite phenomena. Composite phenomena means it's produced through many causes and conditions. And then produce one, like one pen. When the writing pen, the pen is composed or product of many causes and conditions. So that all the nature is impermanent. Are impermanent. Buddha said, now here, the quotation, "O monks, all composite phenomena are impermanent." Monks and nuns need a lot of reminding of impermanence. Wearing Dharma robe, but not contemplating on the impermanence, not so good, So then mental afflictions comes. There comes attachment, this and that, the fighting, all this comes there. And then to hundreds of thousands of monks there, Buddha says, all the monks, all the composite phenomena are impermanent. Then all the bubbling of the mind, just slow down. See, all this attachment around there is lessen, become less, and mind become more peaceful, physically more peaceful. See? We just reflect on this. Just meditate on. When there's a deep suffering, you meditate on impermanence. Take a deep breath. Everything is impermanent. And you are just this such a storm, what you call that, taking all your attention to the suffering. It helps to release the suffering. The suffering is not permanent. It will change. Meditate. When the strong anger, meditate on impermanence. Then the whom you have the anger, that person is impermanent. Where you are so vicious about your anger to that person, and it helps to release that power. So it's very important. It's very easy to do, but it's very important to do off and on. Just sit, just take a deep breath and meditate. See? When you're next to the tree, the wind blows, the tree moves, making noise. Just, oh, you see, this is impermanent. It's changing. Everything is this nature. Meditate. So while I'm talking about impermanence, please meditate on this. It's great healing, you see. It's not a negative thing, but it is healing. Whether we contemplate or not contemplate on impermanence, we're impermanent anyway, you know. You see, we're impermanent anyway. Those who don't believe impermanent, they are impermanent anyway, you know. You see, no choice. See, look at this, you know. So sometimes we say, oh, impermanence, no, it's so negative thought. And let us just have a more positive, don't think about impermanence, you know. See, some people say that, but it is impermanent anyway, you know. Now in the world, you see, wife and husband, you see, and when they disagree so much, we divorce. No, divorce 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. And there are some who are very good relationship, so peaceful, so grateful. They spend their life whole together. But at the end of their life, then there's so much suffering. So now I lost my husband. I lost my wife. We are so good at it. We are so now love each other. I miss him or her so much. And the pain is so much in the mind, in the heart. Because as other day I mentioned, now I'm getting old. So a lot of my friends are getting old, you know, and who I met in the 80s, 90s, you know, and now they are writing me, you know, because, you know, so can you say prayers? Next life, I want to meet my husband, my wife, you know. So that's kind of, you see. So what should I say? Really, you know, but attachment is that pain. So much. When you have very good relationship, as I mentioned, it's not being care. You care each other. You help each other. You support each other. But look at the impermanence. Practice. When you have impermanence, you are prepared. And also, you can live more peacefully. So you are impermanent. I'm impermanent. Let's live peacefully. Don't fight, you know. And then can get benefit so much. And remind Dharma practice each other. Now, it's not just only this life. Now, let us practice for enlightenment, for Buddhahood. Let's do practice for benefit all sentient beings. So like that, you see, impermanence has such great powerful instructions. Meditate on these. Then you see here, now, there are 4 points. This is a very important point for us, In what way are the impermanents? See, the end of accumulation is dispersion or exhaustion. You accumulate wealth, but at the end, it exhausts. Dispersion or reduce. There are some very rich people at the end of the life then has nothing. So exhausted, consumed. Look this, you see. Read the history of the past. Nowadays you see some in the country, nowadays you see when they become the leader of the country, with the greed, they accumulated so much, and then see, and they have so much, but the people don't have. So now people are protesting, you see. It's cause of suffering. So they have to run away, So what's the benefit to have to accumulate all this? Look at this, you see. As other days I mentioned, when you get a bowl of porridge or few pieces of bread, you appreciate, you rejoice. It's because of all the other people's support. I got this. I'm so fortunate. Appreciate, rejoice, content with that. And there's great peace, joy, because you appreciate. So I'm so grateful. We live moment to moment. We plan for next day. We plan for next week, next month, next year. But who knows? It's indefinite. But we have now. And now is the time to practice Dharma. Now is the time we have total freedom how to manage our mind. So impermanence practice is such a powerful how to manage our mind. Moment to moment. See. Then next said, the end of the construction is falling. You see, you built buildings, built roads, built aeroplanes, railways, all the cars, tractors, and all this you see you built. After some time, you see it's falling into parts. You constantly have to repair all this. Just for Buddhists, you say, if anybody went to India, once Buddhists became so powerful, you go to the Bodh Gaya, Nalanda area, Kushinagar, Lumbini, so many monasteries built, hundreds and thousands of monks, nuns there, but now just see a ruin. So look at this, remind ourselves, meditate. All are like this. And then the end of meeting is separating, see. So all is life in that, you see. Husband and wife, we met, or children are born, met, parents met their children, children they met their parents, but at the end, we separate. Maybe stay together 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, even 100 years. But then one day, we have to separate. Look at this. So as I earlier mentioned, it's a preparation. So there's no so much pain is there. When we prepared, meditate on this, when actually it happens, there's not so much pain. Otherwise, there's such great pain, desperate, you cry. And sometimes there's suicide, you see. So Buddha taught, this is the real nature, but you can handle wisely, carefully. Instead, you should get so much benefit from this. Instead of going through so much suffering, try to get benefit from this. So we need a courage, you see, wisdom. So like this, just as earlier I mentioned. Then the end of life is death. When we are born, means one day we'll die. Most we know, we'll die one day. We know it, because history can tell us. There's no one who lived forever, See, even they live 100 years, 120 years, still will die one day. See, it's clear, obvious. But when we are not prepared, then the suffering is so much. So we don't need suffering. And then we can say, we call this guru, that lama, that great teacher, can you help me? I'm going through so much suffering. And then what the guru can tell, what the lama can tell, you see. So Buddha directly talked to his followers. I can give you all the instructions, all the methods, as like here, Gampopa is teaching us, but you have to apply yourself. Liberation is in your hand. See how grateful. Buddha was not telling, you bring all your offerings to me, I will do everything for you, See? Buddha was telling you, you have to sustain your life. You meditate your life. Live in the middle way. Not too much, not too little, you see. Everything's middle. That's manageable. You can manage your life. When there's too much, you cannot manage, I saw there are some people who have a lot of collections and they're suffering so much that they don't know what to do with those, and they can't get rid of it, and they cannot keep all of them, and they're suffering so much, So Buddha is teaching how to manage your life. And then there comes the peace. There comes the joy, peace and happiness. And then said, this is not just only this life. It's this next life. This enlightenment. if you can manage, you see. So you see. So how these four, firstly, please contemplate these four. These four are first very important. These four includes all the composite phenomena. See, the accumulation and the constructions and the meeting and the life. Within these four, all the impermanence are included. So if you reflect on these four subjects, first memorize, is very easy, and reflect on these, and then meditate on impermanence. All the accumulations are at the end, they will exhaust. They will disperse. And all the constructions, no matter how concrete you build, after some time, that will fall. Like aeroplane, as mentioned, train, road, buildings. And you see, all we met, like in the meeting hall, hundreds of people you meet, after some time, everything is gone by themselves. It's separated. Look at this. Everything is just illusory nature. At one point, there are hundreds of thousands of people in the big hall. After a few hours, they all are gone. The hall becomes empty. It's illusory nature. Just see, that's called illusion, you see. Hundreds of thousands of people one time together, and next they're all gone. That's it. That is not illusion. Then what is illusion? Reflect on this. In the morning, a beautiful flower. In the afternoon, it fades. It decays. So like that, you see. So meditate on this. Appreciate your opportunity you have. Appreciate the health you have. And I must use to practice Dharma. Dharma practice means to improve our mental quality. See? Mind is the most important, you see. Buddha taught complete nature of the mind, you see. Nothing is missing. To achieve complete enlightenment means taught complete nature of the mind. In the relative state, in the absolute state. The modern scientists, neurologists, all this, they're working so hard to see the mind, using all the telescope, all the machine, So they're making the brain many pieces. Where's the mind, They cannot find. Actually, they have to meditate themselves. See, they have to get good shamatha, special insight, through these two methods. Shamatha and special insight, then can understand the mind. Otherwise, through the machine, you cannot. See, because machines are matter. They are substance, matter. And the mind is consciousness. is not a matter. See, and we know we have a mind, but we don't know how it is, because our attention is completely always on outside, not inside. We don't know how the mind, as I mentioned this, I wrote one book, the one hand, two sides. One hand, two sides. It's how the mind, one side of the mind works other side. No, it's how the duality mind, how to see the non-duality. Very complex subject. So this is always to improve our mind, to see the advance of the mind, how to relax the mind. Meditate on this. So this, I want you to reflect on these 4 topics. First, this quotation, all monks, the Buddha said, all composite phenomena are impermanent. It's very simple, but very powerful message. And then next, these 4 topics. Please reflect on this. Okay. Then next, the summary of this impermanence, classification, method of meditation, and beneficial effects of meditation. These 3 comprise all the contemplation on impermanence. And these are very nicely described in this book. You see, you just read it, not so difficult to understand. So first, there's outer phenomena, inner phenomena. Outer, this universe, this outer whole universe, the gross impermanence, and then subtle impermanence, and very subtle impermanence, as you see. So these are examples of how to practice the impermanence, step by step. So, first, when you look at the mountains, rocky mountains, all this look very silent, but they are rock. They are like a rock, so silent, unmovable, but they are impermanent. So meditate on that. So look, see, then after the gross impermanent, go to a little more subtle impermanent. See 4 seasons, how the 4 seasons changes. And then day and night, just see how everything's impermanent. Then very subtle impermanent, you see, like the running of the river. The continuation, the running of the river is so continuously changing. I don't realize how it's changing, but it's changing so, every second is changing. So we are deluded to perceive that because the continuity is similar. That's why I say, I saw this river last year. I saw this river yesterday. Actually, it's gone. It's gone to the ocean. What I'm seeing now is different from yesterday. But I'm deluded seeing the same river, what I saw yesterday and today. So how much we're deluded, you see. So this constantly changing, so past is past, future is future, this present moment is changing. means then that nature itself is emptiness. So through this practice, meditation, you can realize from the impermanence, you can realize the emptiness. So meditate on this. And that's your mind, how your mind can change, improve. You see, oh, yes. My friend, first I like so much, and by just one instance, then say, I don't like you. See, everything's so kind of delicate, changing. So meditate. So that is the Mahamudra, you see. That itself is called Dzogchen, Mahamudra, you see. That's very profound, because our gross mind difficult to comprehend that. That's the impermanence of the outer phenomena. Then inner phenomena, sentient beings, everyone in the world is impermanent. And you see, impermanent here is called impermanence of others. Is all sentient beings are impermanent. And impermanence of oneself. I'm also in the state of impermanent. I'm also changing. Just reflect, you see. Just take a deep breath, and relax, you see. From last year to this year, changed 1 year. My life is shorter. From last month, now 1 month is gone. From last week, it's now 1 week is gone. From yesterday, now 1 day is gone. Now from this morning to now, this is 1 hour, 2 hours gone. Like that, just meditate. That's my nature. I'm changing every second. So that means impermanence means no essence. There's no essence. You look at the beautiful flower, so precious. But that very beautiful flower, it fades in 1 second. So there's no essence. It's changing. So that you can see that through your wisdom, special insight. Everything is changing. Everything's like a bubble. Everything's like a mirage. So look at this, meditate, and calm your mind. Bring your mind in the right place, relax there. Meditate. See? Everything starts to be natural. So this way, we're preparing for our death, you see, to die peacefully, joyfully. See, sometimes we pay attention so much to the parto. Oh, what we can do, parto? No, there's a power in the parto. There's a such instruction in the parto. But if you're not prepared, they will do nothing. But we have to prepare step by step. So here saying, how will die? Sometimes the death is threatening, you will die. Oh, I don't like that, it's scary, But we have to prepare. Prepare peacefully, joyfully through the Dharma practice. See. So here, I said, to meditate on death, one should think, I myself cannot stay long in this world and will have to leave to the next life. So I have to prepare. But what does means death? Contemplate this way. Meditate on the characteristic of the death by contemplating my life ends. At the time of death, what happens? This breath that I'm breathing will cease to exist. And this body becomes corpse. When the breath stops, then a person is dead. And this mind, has to wander. Then the mind leaves the body and wandering, depending to the conditions in different places. So meditate on this. So at this time, instead of my mind follows in the wrong direction, attachment, aversion, my mind maintained in the bodhicitta, my mind maintained in the Mahamudra. See, this is so precious. My mind maintained in the loving kindness. May every sentient beings have peace and happiness. May every sentient beings be free from suffering. May they all achieve enlightenment, including people who don't like me. And everything is illusory nature. There's nothing to attach. Just a manifestation of causes and conditions. I maintain my life, my mind in the peace. This is the best way of the transition of our death. And so impermanence is such a precious. So this is the practice of the impermanence. How to practice impermanence? Reflect our mind in this way. So now there are details of there. You can read those. I don't have to go through all the steps. But there's one, this, this one, say, I cherish this body so much now. I sacrifice many things for this body. But at the time of death, I have to leave this body behind. All the negative karma cause that I have created to protect this body. When I die, the body leaves behind. The karma that I made, I have to carry life after life. So instead of cherishing this body, attached to this body, utilize this body to practice bodhicitta, to practice the Dharma, and utilize this body to benefit others, how to help others. See? So these are some important points you can pick up of this impermanence. Then you'll be so happy to help others, to benefit others. We all are impermanent. We will change, So relax the mind in that. Instead of being upset, being angry, just relax the mind and meditate on this, and then do all the things that you can do to help others, to help yourself, to meditate yourself. This way, you see, you look at this, our mind, as I mentioned, the habitual tendency, the inveterate propensities, looks they are so concrete, so stubborn, but their nature is impermanent. Their nature is emptiness. See, so if I make the effort, I can do it because they are impermanent. No matter how much I am so habituated in this samsaric habit, still their nature is impermanent, emptiness. So I can make it happen to purify them. So this is the power of the contemplating of the impermanence. Relax, meditate. This way, you will always feel so light, not much burden. Release all your burden and practice the Dharma, and especially bodhicitta. Instead of only focus for these lives, but focus for enlightenment, for Buddhahood. So I should use this body not only for this life's enjoyment, but I should use this body for the enlightenment of all sentient beings. So for this, the reading, the life stories of great masters are so precious. How they have practiced, how they have benefited sentient beings. So it's not just, as I mentioned, it's not just a religious training. It is training of the mind to know our mind is so the inveterate mind of the habits so arrogant. So we can break through this arrogant mind, make the mind flexible, make the mind like the space. Okay, so impermanence has a lot of subject there. You can read, and so, as I mentioned, so precious. Then look at this. Whenever you see people are dying, so look to this. You see, one day I will also happen like this. I must practice Dharma. Just reminding this all. Just reminding again and again. See. So through this practice of impermanence, then the beneficial effects you see here. Awareness of the impermanence of all composite phenomena leads one to release attachment to this life. See, when we repeat this, meditate this, then our attachment, our pernicious attachment is purified, and mind becomes spacious. a spacious mind. And then that spacious mind has such a great opportunity to develop bodhicitta. See, further, it nourishes faith. See, then when you look at the impermanence of all phenomena, then our faith or the interest to enlightenment becomes strong. Not only for this life, but for enlightenment, to help others. Faith. Suppose it supports perseverance. Or life is impermanent. I must practice. I cannot stay lazy. In the morning, you get up and do practice. In the evening, you practice. During the daytime, do meditation practice as often as possible. Because everything is impermanent. If you just watch the breath, relax, meditate, and contemplate everyone's desire for peace and happiness. That, because of that, reflect on the loving kindness, compassion. And quickly frees one from the attachment and hatred, you see. So through this mindfulness of the impermanence, it helps us to release our attachment, our aversion, hatred. As earlier mentioned, when these attachment and hatreds are purified, that's the real peace that can experience in the mind. There are some individuals very vicious to you. So if we kind of vicious back to that individual, then our hatred mind brings a lot of pain, suffering. I was thinking how I can get rid of this person, how I should kind of respond to this. Instead, this person is so stupid, ignorant, doesn't know how to handle, doesn't know how to bring peace and happiness. He or herself is suffering so much. So these all are impermanent, moment to moment, changing. And doesn't know how to do that. So you reflect about the suffering and develop love and compassion. And all your mental, this suffering just disappear. So that disappearing of the suffering is called practice of emptiness. See, there's no big thing emptiness, so this is all empty, this, that, Everything stands within the emptiness. Everything functions within emptiness, manifests from emptiness, dissolve into emptiness. If you know this, aware this, then you see you can relax, meditate there, and appreciate Dharma. That's what it's called. The relative state and absolutes are non-duality. See, we don't make them non-duality, but their nature is within the non-duality. But we make duality, and then we suffer. But if we have a wisdom to see this, how they function within the non-duality, the peace is in our hand. So meditate. This is the first one. So this is the wisdom of the Buddha, wisdom of the Gampopa. So meditate on this. That's why I said here, it becomes a cause for the realization of the equal nature of all phenomena. That means emptiness. When you practice this way, step by step, then you see, as I mentioned, the impermanent of every second. Then you divide past is past, future is future, and you cannot find now something permanent. That itself is emptiness. See? All this grows, what do we see? All the dust particles we see. If you divide, investigate through the intellectual, it functions within in the emptiness. Like, for example, this modern the quantum physics theory. The scientists they have proved or they realize now all these dust particles are nothing but empty. But then now they don't know how to meditate on them. You see, so they got rid of it. So this empty now we cannot do anything. No use. But for us, that's the best thing we can use. Yes, it is nothing. There's nothing functions independently. The nature is emptiness. There's nothing to attach to, nothing to hate. So that understanding itself is the wisdom. Through that wisdom, we get all the excellent opportunity to purify all the mental afflictions. Meditate. And that gives us develop such great love and compassion, special insight, and real can bring peace in the world. I wish all the great scientists they realize that, you see, how to meditate on emptiness and bring peace in the world. So we follow that path. And then the life is beautiful. Precious human life. That's what makes the life is so precious. The precious human life. Instead of center of the problems, instead of the center of all the suffering, the life becomes the center of the peace, happiness, and joy to all others. This is what is called Dhamma practice. And there you can practice the bodhicitta. See? So, so this big subject of impermanence, so many pages we have covered. No? So do you think this way is helpful? Reflect on this and meditate, relax. No? Not just as mentioned today, but in your daily life, in the morning, to reflect on the impermanence, meditate on them, loving kindness, compassion. In the evening, you reflect on the bodhicitta. You go to sleep with the bodhicitta. No, you can go to sleep with it, all other practices you have, but remain in permanence. Don't treat impermanence as some small thing. No. Impermanence is such important from the beginning to the end of your practice. I usually repeat this life story of Milarepa, you know. He has the clay pot, you know. It's broke on the way to walk. You see, he was walking from one place to another, and his foot stepped on a piece of rock, and he fall down, and the pot is broke into pieces unexpectedly, you know. So that amazes Milarepa so much. Oh, so you know, the pot just I had 1 second ago, and now it pieces here. This is all the collection of the wealth. He doesn't have anything, only the pot, and that broke, you know. Now, if we had happened, we'll cry. I'm so unfortunate. Generally, I have nothing, but now I have only the pot is broken. Now, how I can live? No, now there's no anything I can cook. The nettles, anything. Oh, you know, we'll cry, and then we're just outraged, you know. But Milarepa was so appreciative, rejoicing all the teachings, profound teaching that he received from this. All the wealth that I have, the pot, is now broke into pieces. This becomes such my profound, great teacher who gave me this profound teaching. Everything is impermanent, especially this precious human life. No. So that you see, there's at that, and before that he has a sense, this is my part in his hand, you know. When it's broke, then it's the sense of the mind is disappeared. Release the attachment. You see, the small attachment that Milarepa has is totally vanished by that instant. And such a profound teaching that he received, and that became such a powerful teacher. So all we can get lessons from good or bad. We get good teachings, you know, like this use. So that we can sustain our practice by reflecting on the impermanence. We can appreciate whatever we have through the reflection of the impermanence. Precious human life that we have every day, we can utilize is the best way, not wasting. No. Whether you are walking, whether you are eating, whether you are sleeping, anytime, reflect on the impermanence, we can practice the Dharma. Precious. So now, thank you everybody. Thank you so much. Now tomorrow we'll reflect on the suffering and karma cause. Okay. Now please take a deep breath and then say some dedication prayer. Yeah, Anila.
We're getting it.
Oh.
She's unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. First, long life prayer for Rinpoche.
No need so much that long life.
Not
Dharma.
a little long life.
Just say some dedication prayers.
Yes, sir. Dorje Chang, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharma Lord, Gampopa, Phagmodrupa, and Lord Drikumpa. Please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessings of the Kagyu Lamas. By this virtue, may I achieve the all-knowing state, and may all who travel on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara by defeating all enemies' confusion. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise, where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have good health and long life. I pray that your Dharma activities spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. As Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra realized the ultimate state, Buddhahood, I will follow in their path and share the merit with all beings. By the blessing of the Buddhas who attained the three kayas, by the blessing of the truth of unchanging Dharma as such, by the blessing of the indivisible Sangha order, may the merit I share bear fruit. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, wooden lineage lamas, divine assembly of yidams, and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, yogins, yoginis, and dakinis, dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. And through that, may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of mind as such and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I in any case gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drikumpa, Ratnashiri, omniscient Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Gracias,
Rinpoche.
Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Gracias, Rinpoche.
Yeah.
Thank you
Hasta
so
mais,
much.
Rinpoche.
Muito obrigada.
Muito obrigada.
Rinpoche. Gracias.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Obrigada.
Gracias,
Kanchen.
Fabián.
Thank you, dear Rama.
Thank you.
Graças,
Muchas gracias.
muitas graças.
Looking forward to suffering tomorrow.
Yeah.
Obrigada. Obrigada, Fabian, pela tradução. Muito obrigada.
Okay.
Gracias Fabián, por la traducción. Gracias, Lama.
Yeah, muy bien.
Mañana. Hasta mañana. Till tomorrow.
Até amanhã.
Yeah.